There's something else that is heading towards about 8 million people in this country that is not a good thing. It's yet another example of how our capitalist system is failing the people of this country at a time when that's the last thing that is needed is failure. Here's the situation. Unemployment benefits, the federal unemployment benefits, since this horror of the pandemic began, unemployment benefits have in several instances helped stave off financial ruin for millions of people who are out of work through no fault of their own, but because the business is closed. But after this week, that lifeline that prevented financial ruin will be cut off. According to the New York Times, an estimated 7.5 billion people will lose their benefits when federally funded emergency unemployment programs end. And millions more people will see their checks cut by $300 a week. So here we go again. And this also comes from the Christian fascists, this idea of taking away from people about the only way they have to survive, because it comes from taxes, or it comes from all of us. Oh, well, you're not entitled to that. Get off your lazy ass and go to work. Yeah, where am I supposed to go to work? Well, you'll find jobs. They're okay. Now, this cutoff is the latest and the largest of the benefit cliffs, so-called, people falling off a cliff that jobless workers have faced over the past year and a half during this pandemic. If you remember last summer, the feds ended a $600 weekly supplement that workers received early in the crisis, but other programs remained in place. And in December, as the Times reports, benefits briefly ran out for millions of workers, but Congress quickly restored them. That's the only thing, and you do know this, right, True Seeker? The only thing that has prevented this country during this pandemic from slipping into absolute panicked anarchy has been the fact that there has been money. There's always money in this country. There has been money to go around to people who desperately needed it. Not enough to really sustain them, but enough to make their lives pleasant, but at least enough to sustain them. Well, this time there's no similar rescue likely. Now, what is likely? President Biden is encouraging states with high unemployment rates to use the existing federal funds that these states have to extend the benefits. But they're not going to do it. Why should? Here in Georgia, we have a psychotic little prick named Brian Kemp, who is the governor here, whose sole purpose is to remove black folk from the voting rolls so he can get reelected, and so the state can switch back to being a red state. But he's not going to increase or take money from the feds and make sure that people in the state continue to get benefits, the ones who need it. And Biden administration officials have said repeatedly that they're not going to seek a congressional extension of the benefits. Biden's too much of a conservative. You know that. I know that. We've known that since we voted for him. Now, the Times puts it this way: the politics of this cliff are different in part because it affects primarily Democratic-leaning states. See, roughly half of the states in the country, and nearly all of those with Republican governors, have already ended some or all of the federal benefits on the grounds that they were discouraging people from returning to work. Oh my, I wonder how that could happen. Well, if I go to work, I can make, let me see, I can make $400 a week. If I don't go to work, I can make $600 a week. Gee, what do I do? What do I do? Let me think this through. And if I go back to work in my little shit job, which is a dead-end job, what's the future for me? Nothing. But that idea that people were being discouraged from returning to work, so far there's no evidence that they were right. Because the states that cut off benefits have experienced job growth, slow but steady this summer, that was little different from that occurred in states that kept the programs of keeping people afloat while they worked a job or tried to find a job. So the whole idea that these Christian fascists have been putting out for the past 40 years, that unemployment benefits prompted people not to seek work, is bullshit. It always has been. When you live in a society that rewards the appearance of prosperity, $200 sneakers or $50 manicure or whatever it is, you're not going to be satisfied living on 30 grand a year. You can't be, because your image is going to be tarnished. People want to make money. I'm not saying people want to work necessarily, because so much work is just mindless bullshit. You know that as well as I do. So people may not have an inherent desire to work a bullshit job, but being in a capitalist society, we damn sure want to display something that will indicate, hey, Jack, I'm all right. I'm doing good. Look, I got this gold necklace. Look, I have this ring. Look, I drive this car. Look, I don't have any health insurance because I'm paying for this other bullshit. You know how it goes. So in the states that kept those benefits, those supplementary unemployment benefits, the cutoff will mean the loss of billions of dollars a week in aid. Just at the time, the timing for this stuff is just exquisite, isn't it? Just when the pandemic is resurgent and this economic recovery that sputters and starts and stops and nobody knows where it's going, it's starting to show further signs of fragility. So now, oh yeah, absolutely, now's a good time to yank billions of dollars out of the economy, take it away from people, and let's see what happens. Oh, Christ. So for workers and their families, it's going to mean losing their only source of income. As other pandemic programs like the federal eviction moratorium, they're ending too. Isn't this lovely? Even the Times puts it this way, even under the most optimistic forecasts, it will take months for everyone losing aid to find a job, with potentially long-term consequences for both workers and the economy. For a lot of workers, they have no idea what's going to happen, what they're going to do once the benefits stop. So our glorious capitalist political religious system is going to snatch away from millions of people the one thing that has kept them from going under. 8 to 10 million people this weekend are going to go through this so that Monday morning when they wake up, nothing. The money's gone. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity.
But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.